Greetings, fellow members of the Esoteric Order of Gamers. It's part 2 of the Joy of Unpacking as I go through the very pleasurable task of unpacking all the stuff that I had in storage in Sydney and bringing it together with all the stuff that I had here in New Zealand. We've already had one episode where we've gone through a few old classics. Let's see what else we can find in this huge collection of games. Memoir 44. What an absolute classic. And here it is, and I've got lots of expansions as well. It's great to have it back. Look, I've even wrapped the actual board in paper. Played many an enjoyable game over this board. And you can see there's little bits of bubble wrap protecting everything inside. If you are doing a move and taking your game collection, I highly recommend going to all this kind of trouble because it's kept everything in good condition. And the joy is that this set is fully painted. Yay! It's going to be great to play Memoir 44 again with these painted figures. Such a great game. Every gamer should have a copy in their collection. Now here's a beautiful old classic, Escape from Colditz by Parker Games. And this is probably, I think, the original edition, or certainly one of the earlier ones, because it still has the swastika in the corner. They very quickly got rid of that. And you can see it's in pretty dodgy condition. There's some tape on there and everything, but the components are in very good condition. Here's my rule summary. It's got a lovely huge board. And inside, some very nice recreations of original documents. You can see here from the period from World War II and some historical information, which is lovely. And I love the way they've set this box up as being a parcel from the Red Cross. Lovely graphic design really for the time. The cards are pretty straightforward. There's the cards, there's all the lovely pawns. I really must give this game a go. I've never actually got around to playing it, and it is a bit of a classic. And again, was recently launched again with the Kickstarter campaign. I haven't looked at the new edition, but it's really nice to have the old one. Now I remember the old days of the Coffin Boxes from Fantasy Flight Games. The huge boxes. We've got original Rune Wars here, StarCraft, Horus Heresy, and the original Descent. And they're all huge boxes. Look. Oh, I can't even get them with one hand. Hold on, I have to put down the camera. Phew, that was tough work. They were really squeezed in there, and of course the bubble wrap doesn't make them come out very easily. Let's have a look at some of these huge Fantasy Flight games. You know, I really don't know what it is about Descent, but the Descent boxes are really susceptible to mould. Look at this surface mould. This is horrifying. This is my original Descent box. I've got to get onto this right away. It's probably going to leave some marks, but I can see it sitting on the surface, and I've got to get it away from my other games. This is a little bit scary. So I'm going to stop filming and get onto this right away. Be back soon. Well, here we are outside in the sun, and as you can see, the damage is not too bad. There's a little bit of spottiness there, especially visible in the lighter areas of the artwork. But nothing too horrible. Most of it was just sitting on the surface, and I used an antibacterial cleaner, which I hope will get most of it off. And luckily, there doesn't seem to be any damage anywhere else. It hasn't spread to the sides of the box or the inside of the box, where, as you can see, it was very carefully wrapped. And these are a huge pile of all the Descent miniatures, all wrapped up in bubble wrap. And these are all the original ones. Lots and lots. Some of them are painted, some of them aren't. Lots of unpainted ones down there, and a few painted on the top. This is from most of the expansion sets. Oh look, I've done the sort of bullroggy creatures. And yeah, I've done quite a few actually. So I don't know if I'll ever play original Descent again. I mean, there were a lot of improvements in the second edition, and there's no great reason to go back to the first edition, but you can certainly use these figures. Well, as you can imagine, it was with great trepidation that I opened the other boxes in that particular box that Descent was sitting in, and happy to say it hasn't spread to the other games, and this is probably one of the great advantages of wrapping everything in bubble wrap. So we had a little mould outbreak in Descent. I don't know what it is about Descent. Is it because it's a game about dungeon delving? There's mould in it? It's bizarre. But because they were all individually wrapped in bubble wrap, it hasn't spread to the other games. Here's Horus Heresy, and it's still in perfect condition. Yay! What a relief. Now, oh look, here's the little discoveries. I've got some Memoir 44 maps inside the Horus Heresy box. How very strange. Here's Horus Heresy, which I think I've only played a couple of times. I've also got the original Games Workshop copy. This one is quite spectacular, lots of bits. You can see all the individual wrapping that goes into storing these games. The only problem is it had these 3D pieces that were all very nice, but it was very difficult to balance miniatures on the top of them, so it caused a few problems. But again, another game that I'm looking forward to playing. And I haven't painted any of it either, so there's another project. As you can see, I did quite a lot of extensive foam core work before I left Sydney, and a lot of these games, in fact I think almost all of them, have foam core inserts. Here's StarCraft, the board game, another fantastic big box game from Fantasy Flight Games. Some of the systems in this have now been applied to Forbidden Stars, which was the Warhammer 40,000 themed space combat game that came out a few years ago. Some lovely miniatures in this game, really spectacular spaceships and aliens. Some of Fantasy Flight's best work really when it comes to miniature design. There we go. 6 full armies of beasties there. Some great artwork too. And I believe there's the expansion in here as well. Yes, Brood War. Oh look, everything's shifted a bit, so I'll have to get all those bits back into their compartments. Well, sometimes you get a little obsessive and you want both versions of a game. Oh look, all the time I get a bit obsessive, but here we've got the English and American versions of Thunder Road, which was a ram and wreck survival game, basically influenced by Mad Max, and there are 2 different versions. So I can't remember which version is better really, because I don't think I've actually ever played it. But this really takes me back. These red plastic inserts, that's from much older games. It's got some great little models of cars in it, and should be some board sections here. And look at that, a little bit of mould again. Oh, this is very disturbing. This has all got to be completely eradicated. Okay, those bits have been wiped down and are sitting in the sun. Let's try the other one. Hopefully everything's all right in here. And, oh, interesting. These are actually little trees because when I was going through this road rage game phase, another game that I really like and is an old favourite of mine is the very old Games Workshop one called Battle Cars. And I actually made terrain for a larger scale of battle cars. So I can see I've stored some of it in this Thunder Road box. And in fact, I'd forgotten all about these. These are pretty amazing. I'd made these little dashboards for battle cars, and you can see they've got little plastic card minimum and maximum speed indicator things on the dash. These are great. I've got to play this game again. And I got some artwork from the internet and made these up. Wow, I'd completely forgotten about them. A lot of work went into these. Battle Cars is a great game. I'm sure I'll discover it further down the track in the boxes. I made quite a few. Look, there's ones for bikes as well. So that's all being stored in here. Another one of those little surprises, I've forgotten all about it. And these look like the components from Battle Cars, along with the bits from Thunder Road. There's even some metal pedestrian figures from Battle Cars scale. Well, they certainly don't make them like this anymore. Battlemasters by Milton Bradley in collaboration with Games Workshop. 100 Citadel miniatures and a giant battle mat. And in fact, I have the 2 expansions too. Chaos Warband and Imperial Lords. And there was just an astonishing amount of value. The idea behind this game was pretty much to introduce people to Games Workshop and Warhammer. Though Milton Bradley, of course, after the success of Hero Quest, I'm sure wanted this one to take off as well. I don't think it ever did. It's huge and unwieldy, and it's got this big plastic battle mat. It's really big, and it's got terrain on it with these giant hexes. And look at all the miniatures. I mean, the value in this box is just off the charts. It's quite incredible. It came with a tower, which I painted up. Plastic tower, and heaps of miniatures all on these individual movement trays. Quite astounding stuff. These really were the golden days of being able to walk into a store and buy something like this. I got these many years later, of course, and managed to get the expansion sets as well, which are quite rare. But I still have yet to get this battle mat down on the table and try this system just for fun. And even one day I might even get around to painting all these miniatures, who knows. Well, there's a lot of gaming goodness packed into this box. We've got Cleopatra and the Society of Architects. There's Witch of Salem. Beowulf. You see Talisman, the revised 4th edition. Ravenloft, Dungeons & Dragons Ravenloft, and I believe that's fully painted. And then right down the bottom here we've got Colosseum, Ticket to Ride, Blue Moon City, Ticket to Ride Europe, Shadows over Camelot, and a Duel in the Dark expansion. Phew! Now these are the discoveries I really like to make. Shadows over Camelot, a great old Days of Wonder game. Wow, they made some good games back in the day. And I'd also forgotten I'd painted the entire set. Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to playing this game because I had no idea I'd gone to the trouble of painting everything. What a pleasant surprise. Ah, the little surprises you come across when you're unpacking. This looks like a copy of StarCraft, the board game Brood War expansion, but when I actually open it up... Oh, hello, it's Divine Right, a very classic board game by TSR Games, the maker of Dungeons & Dragons. It's a great little game, 1979, and you can see still in pretty damn good condition. It's got a big paper map. This is one of the first board games I played, actually. Nice colourful map, and good old cardboard chits. And some other low quality pieces, but that's how it was back in the old days. You can see in here I put some silica gel. I've actually just bought 100 silica gel sachets, which I'm going to put through all my games. After discovering these bits of mould, I really don't want that to happen again, so I'm going to be very careful. Hold on, there's something else under here. Oh, wow! Oh, now this really, really, really is special. This, my friends, is Empire of the Petal Throne, released in 1975 by TSR. It's by Professor M.A.R. Barker, and this was the first role-playing game set on the world of Tékumel. Now, if you've had a look at my Tékumel website, which is tékumel.com, you can find out lots about this fantastic fantasy world, but this was really a premium item back in these days. 1978 is when I first came across it, and it was my first ever role-playing game. I walked into the library when I was a 12-year-old, bumped into some guys who were playing a version of this game, a very simple version of this game, and I was hooked on gaming ever since that day. So this is a copy I bought years later. It's in really, really good condition. As you can see, I put some silica gel in there. This is the rule book. Some great fantasy artwork. And it came with these beautiful, colourful maps of the world of Tékumel, especially the country of Solyanu. There it is there. Lovely maps, and still brightly coloured and looking like the day they were printed. It also came with another fantastic map of a city. Look at all that. Very, very proud of this piece. It's one of the best things in my collection, and I'm very glad to see it's still in perfect condition. There it is, Empire of the Petal Throne. Well, that's it for today. There's still a lot to do. As you can see, it's chaos. I'm surrounded by games. It's madness, and I've got to get this in some kind of order because I can't quite put it on the shelves yet. But I hope you're enjoying this as we continue to unbox games in the Esoteric Order of Gamers collection. Oh, and thank you very much for all the really nice comments I've received about this little series, and it's just wonderful to hear how you're enjoying seeing these games being unboxed and getting a bit of a trip down memory lane. Really appreciate all the comments. Thank you. See you next time!